Let's jump back to 1983, a John Carpenter Stephen King classic, a movie that took me forever to see. And also, good God, was this one of those movies that had a long time to take to get a physical collector's edition release? It had a very small release through Blu-ray, and it was very hard to find. But then one day I was at Best Buy, and Christine was there on Blu-ray with bonus features. So I was so happy because it was put out through one of these companies that just didn't see the collector's market as being a big thing, and it was very difficult to find. But I'm so happy to grab a copy and add it to my Stephen King collection. This is one of those movies that I think hit a lot of people positively. And it was a hit for John Carpenter after a couple of crash and burns with like stuff like The Thing. So and based on a beloved Stephen King novel that made Stephen King tons of money, and I, God, do never want to see a remake of this, but it's guaranteed to happen one day. But I digress. Maybe a prequel. Maybe to explain some of the mystery behind Christine. Maybe we don't need it. I don't know. But this is one of my favorite Stephen King, John Carpenter film collaborations. Christine, with some amazing music in the score, too, by the way. Absolutely incredible music, too. When did you first see Christine, Katie?
I saw Christine probably on cable in 1985 or 84. I mean, this is another one that stands the test of time. One of the things that I always have loved about Stephen King adaptations, or at least, with his books, the fact that he doesn't pack the punch right away. There's definitely like a backstory. You understand like what Christine is, the characters of Arnie and Dennis, played by Keith Gordon and John Stockwell. You see that Christine, it's not like Christine kills immediately. Although in the first couple minutes while she's on the production line, you kind of see where the whole aspect comes with her taste for blood. But it's the whole thing where she regenerates that you don't know. You don't know why it happens. You don't understand why it happens, other than the fact that she's regenerating because of Arnie's love. Because, like, with the last guy that she was with who ended up dying, her last owner, she just sat there and kind of went to crap. So, does she die when the owner dies? I mean, obviously, at the end of Christine, we know that's not true, but the kills in this are absolutely fantastic. The direction is beautiful. I mean, that car is just iconic. And I know in Flashback Weekend in Chicago, they had a Christine reunion. They had the car. They had all of the bad guys there, which I can name them off. And fortunately, I missed it. I was planning on going on Sunday and stuff happened. And this was in August, the first full weekend of August. So, when Flashback Weekend has a, reunion of sorts, believe me, they go all out. They went all out for this. This is one of those films that it's like, I mean, the car itself doesn't seem like it would be scary other than when the lights come on, because, I mean, obviously there are bigger cars right now. There are muscle cars that I think would be, be able to, like push it off the road and veer it off the road and all that stuff. But I think it's just the persistence and that undying obsessive stalkerish love of the car that actually is scarier than the look of the car itself, because once that car has you in its heart or in its engine, wink, and then the car is in your heart, there's nothing that's going to stop it. And with the deaths in this film, you obviously see that. I mean, there are some things in here that still it's hard to recreate, and I think that Carpenter did an amazing job with that. But it's also the music that each one of the kills he does. I mean, it just really revs it up, and you really know that something's going to happen. This is one of my favorite films of Carpenter. I got to see this at the Music Box last year when they had a Carpenter Fest, which was amazing. Obviously, if they are not Carpenter Fest, the Stephen King Festival, if they ever do that again, I highly recommend anyone who's in Chicago to go, because they go all out and the movies are fantastic to see on a big screen. So I'm lucky that I got to see that just last year. But yeah, this is beautiful film, excellent music, great direction, awesome kills. Movies about cars sometimes can be dumb. This one is the granddaddy and the king of all those films that, you know, anything about a car that's going to kill, I think goes, Christine's number one. Anything else is like a far 2, 3, 8 behind it. But yeah, if you have a chance to see it on the big screen, I highly recommend it. See it at a drive-in, because I think that's an excellent way to see it, especially when the car is on fire and driving and trying to and going to run over somebody. That is an image that you will not be able to get out of your head. Yeah, Christine, 40 years later, still holds up better than most films that came out just last year, or honestly even this year. It's been a bad year to not a bad year to review films, but it's been a difficult year to review them in a positive manner when the majority of them have not been very positive. And this one, I'm glad we're reviewing it because it stands up.
Some of the music I mentioned that I wanted to point out that I thought was amazing. George Thorogood and the Destroyers, of course, Bad to the Bone, played right in the beginning. Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Not Fade Away. John Ace, Pledging My Love. Robert and Johnny, We Belong Together. Very creepy song today. Little Richards, Keep It Knockin'. Dion and the Belmonts, I Wonder Why. The Viscounts, Harlem Nocturne. Thurston Harris's Little Bitty Pretty One. Danny and the Juniors, Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay. And Larry Williams, Bonnie Monroe. But also, let's not discount the music by John Carpenter and Alan Howard. Am I saying that right?
Horvath. I thought it was Horvath.
Maybe it's the way you're saying it. And the soundtrack and scores are pretty easily defined. They're not they're out of print, but they're not impossible. I have the score for Christine on vinyl record, by the way, and it comes in, of course, a red vinyl record. I wish I had it with me to display, but it looks fantastic. This car behind me has been remade multiple times in toys. If you want the full-fledged version, like the box, like the size of my hands, that's great. I got a little tiny Matchbox car because I like to have a little setup. I have a setup like right on my shelf with Stephen King movies. I have the car, I have a road strip, I have a couple fake trees like you would buy for a train set. I have the Christine riding down the road, and behind it is Sam and Dean's baby from Supernatural and the Mystery Machine. So you can see Sam and Dean and Scooby chasing after Christine, you know?
Nice.
Which they make a reference of in Supernatural. The only other killer car movie I can think of is My Killer the Car, which is an actual title, and The Car. Also, I think, is it Duel about, but that's a truck driver, right?
Duel is, well, there's the one that, not Steven Spielberg did. That's about a car. That right. I think that's Duel, but I thought that was about the car. I don't know.
Guess who has the rights to make Christine?
I think Christine blows them all away.
Guess who has the rights to make a Christine remake if they want to?
Stephen King.
Jason Blum.
Oh well, no, they're doing a Christine too.
Oh. Well, yeah. It says Blumhouse and Sony Pictures are in development of a remake as of 2021, but there has been no word since 2021.
I would look again because I saw something that it's supposed to be out in production for September of 2024.
We'll see what happens with that, with everything that's been going on. Who knows what's going to happen when everything finally comes back together after Hollywood gets their crap together. We'll have to wait and see. But let's hope they don't change the car. You know, don't modernize it. Don't update it. You know, make it the classic car. You know, the only thing I have to say about films based on books, I don't call them remakes because the Dune film that's out and the sequel are closely more associated than the David Lynch film from the 80s. It's not a remake of the David Lynch movie by a long shot at all. They're so polar opposites. But I think they could do another Christine movie as long as it's more associated closely with the book. Just don't do it like you did Firestarter or Carrie, which were not great modern adaptation updates, let's just say. We'll have to wait and see, and I digress because we don't have anything yet. We're a few years away from 2024, so. But go find Christine and watch it. I know it's on streaming. I definitely know it's on Blu-ray, and it's definitely one of those films you can find if you like physical media to come out around this time of year that we're recording this in September. So it's definitely a great, as Katie put it, obsession film to watch about obsession and just how it can manipulate you and destroy you in so many ways. Yes, the C is for Carpenter. I have a T-shirt somewhere that says I have one of those directed T-shirts that says directed by John Carpenter. That's a really cool VHS. Is that a mint VHS copy?
Yep.
Cool. Like and subscribe on this video. Check out the rest of the videos here on the Radio Horror YouTube channel with me and Katie. Don't forget to check us out on our individual Facebook pages, the Blonde in Front and Radio Horror. If you have any questions, accolades, or comments about anything we missed with this review, please send them over to thatradiohorror@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to read them on our next review, and we'll be back possibly for Saw 10 coming up later this month here on Radio Horror.